Melachim Aleph, or 1 Kings, chapter 8. Then Shlomo assembled the elders of Israel and all the heads of the tribes, the chief fathers of the children of Israel, to sovereign Shlomo in Jerusalem, to bring up the Ark of the Covenant of YHVH from the city of David, which is Zion. And all the men of Israel assembled to sovereign Shlomo at the festival in the month of Ethanim, which is the 7th new moon. And all the elders of Israel came, and the priests took up the ark, and brought up the Ark of YHVH, and the tent of appointment, and all the set-apart utensils that were in the tent. And the priests and the Levites brought them up, and sovereign Shlomo and all the congregation of Israel who had assembled with him were with him before the ark, slaughtering so many sheep and cattle that they could not be counted or numbered. And the priests brought in the Ark of the Covenant of YHVH to its place, into the speaking place of the house, to the most set-apart place, under the wings of the cherubim. For the cherubim spread 2 wings over the place of the ark, and the cherubim covered over the ark and its poles. And the poles extended so that the ends of the poles were seen from the set-apart place in front of the speaking place, but they were not seen from outside, and they are there to this day. There was not in the ark only the 2 tablets of stone which Moshe put there at Horeb, where YHVH made a covenant with the children of Israel when they came out of the land of Mitzrayim. And it came to be, when the priests came out of the set-apart place, that the cloud filled the house of YHVH, so that the priests were unable to stand and perform the service because of the cloud. For the esteem of YHVH filled the house of YHVH. And Shlomo said, YHVH has said he would dwell in the dark cloud. I have indeed built you an exalted house and established a place for you to dwell in forever. And the sovereign turned around and blessed all the assembly of Israel, while all the assembly of Israel was standing. And he said, Blessed be YHVH, Elohim of Israel, who spoke with his mouth to my father David, and with his hand has filled it, saying, Since the day I brought my people Israel out of Mitzrayim, I've chosen no city from any tribe of Israel in which to build a house for my name to be there, but I chose David to be over my people Israel. And it was in the heart of my father David to build a house for the name of YHVH, Elohim of Israel. But YHVH said to my father David, Because it's been in your heart to build a house for my name, you did well that it was in your heart. Only you do not build the house, but your son, who's coming from your loins, he does build the house for my name. Now, YHVH has established his word which he spoke, and I have been raised up instead of my father David, and sit on the throne of Israel, as YHVH promised, and built a house for the name of YHVH, Elohim of Israel, and have appointed there a place for the ark, wherein is the covenant of YHVH, which he made with our fathers when he brought them out of the land of Mitzrayim. And Shlomo stood before the slaughter place of YHVH in front of all the assembly of Israel, and spread out his hands toward the heavens, and said, YHVH, Elohim of Israel, there is no Elohim in the heavens above or on the earth below like you, guarding your covenant and loving commitment with your servants who walk before you with all their heart, who has guarded that which you did promise your servant David, my father. Indeed, you've spoken with your mouth and filled it with your hand, as it is this day. And now, Yehovah, Elohim of Israel, guard what you promised your servant David, my father, saying, there is not to cease a man of yours before me sitting on the throne of Israel, only if your sons guard their way to walk before me as you have walked before me. And now, O Elohim of Israel, please let your word come true, which you have spoken to your servant David, my father. For is it true? Elohim dwells on the earth. See, the heavens and the heavens of the heavens are unable to contain you. How much less this house which I have built? Yet shall you turn to the prayer of your servant and his supplication, O Yehovah, my Elohim, and listen to the cry and the prayer which your servant is praying before you today. For your eyes to be open toward this house night and day, toward the place of which you said, my name is there, to listen to the prayer which your servant makes toward this place. Then you shall hear the supplication of your servant and of your people Israel when they pray toward this place, when you hear in your dwelling place in the heavens, and shall you hear and forgive. If anyone sins against his neighbor, and he has lifted up an oath to him to cause him to swear, and comes and swears before your slaughter place in this house, then hear in the heavens, and act and rightly rule your servants, declaring the wrongdoer wrong, bringing his way on his head, and declaring the righteous right by giving him according to his righteousness. When your people Israel are smitten before an enemy because they've sinned against you, and they shall turn back to you and confess your name and pray and make supplication to you in this house, then hear in the heavens and forgive the sin of your people Israel and bring them back to the land which you gave to their fathers. When the heavens are shut up and there is no rain because they sin against you, when they pray toward this place and confess your name and turn from their sin because you afflict them, then hear in the heavens and forgive the sin of your servants, your people Israel, for you teach them the good way in which they should walk, and shall give rain on your land, which you have given to your people as an inheritance. When there's scarcity of food in the land, when there is pestilence, blight, mildew, locusts, grasshoppers, when their enemy distresses them in the land of their cities, any plague, any sickness, whatever prayer, whatever supplication made by any one of all your people Israel, each knowing the plague of his own heart, and shall spread out his hands toward this house, then hear in the heavens your dwelling place, and forgive, and act, and render unto everyone according to all his ways, whose heart you know, because you alone know the hearts of all the sons of men, so that they fear you all the days that they live in the land which you gave to our fathers. Also, concerning a foreigner who is not of your people Israel, but has come from a far land for your name's sake, since they hear of your great name and your strong hand and your outstretched arm, and he shall come and pray toward this house, here in the heavens, your dwelling place, and do according to all for which the foreigner calls to you, so that all peoples of the earth know your name and fear you, as do your people Israel, and know that this house, which I have built, is called by your name. When your people go out to battle against their enemy in the way that you send them, and they shall pray to Yehovah toward the city which you've chosen, and toward the house which I have built for your name, then you shall hear in the heavens their prayer and their supplication, and maintain their cause. When they sin against you, for there is no one who does not sin, and you become enraged with them and give them to the enemy, and they take them captive to the land of the enemy, far and near, and they shall turn back into their heart in the land where they've been taken captive, and shall turn and make supplication to you in the land of those who took them captive, saying, we've sinned and acted crookedly, we've committed wrong. And they shall turn back to you with all their heart and with all their being in the land of their enemies who led them away captive, and shall pray to you toward the land which you gave to their fathers, the city which you've chosen, and the house which I've built for your name. Then shall you hear in the heavens, your dwelling place, their prayer and their supplication, and maintain their cause, and forgive your people who have sinned against you, and all their transgressions which they've transgressed against you, and give them compassion before those who took them captive, and they shall have compassion on them. For they are your people and your inheritance, whom you brought out of Mitzrayim, out of the iron furnace. Let your eyes be open to the supplication of your servant and the supplication of your people Israel, to listen to them whenever they call to you. For you've separated them unto yourself for an inheritance out of all the peoples of the earth, as you spoke by the hand of your servant Moshe, when you brought our fathers out of Mitzrayim, O Master Yehovah. And it came to be, when Shlomo had ended praying all this prayer and supplication to Yehovah, that he rose up from before the slaughter place of Yehovah, from kneeling on his knees with his hands spread up to the heavens. And he stood and blessed all the assembly of Israel with a loud voice, saying, Blessed be Yehovah, who has given rest to his people Israel, according to all he promised. There has not failed one word of all his good word, which he promised through his servant Moshe. Yehovah our Elohim is with us as he was with our fathers. He does not leave us nor forsake us, to incline our hearts to himself, to walk in all his ways, and to guard his commands and his laws and his right rulings, which he commanded our fathers. And let these words of mine, with which I have made supplications before Yehovah, be near Yehovah our Elohim day and night, to maintain the cause of his servant and the cause of his people Israel, the matter of each day and its day, so that all the peoples of the earth might know that Yehovah is Elohim, there is no one else. Let your hearts therefore be perfect to Yehovah our Elohim, to walk in his laws and guard his commands as at this day. And the sovereign and all Israel with him slaughtered slaughterings before Yehovah, and Shlomo slaughtered slaughterings of peace offerings, which he slaughtered to Yehovah, 22,000 bulls and 120,000 sheep. Thus the sovereign and all the children of Israel dedicated the house of Yehovah. On that day, the sovereign set apart the middle of the courtyard that was in front of the house of Yehovah, for there he made ascending offerings, and the grain offerings, and the fat of the peace offerings, because the bronze slaughter place that was before Yehovah was too small to contain the ascending offerings, and the grain offerings, and the fat of the peace offerings. And Shlomo at that time performed the festival, and all Israel with him, a great assembly, from the entrance of Hamath to the wadi of Mitzrayim, before Yehovah our Elohim, 7 days and 7 days, 14 days. On the 8th day, he sent the people away, and they blessed the sovereign and went to their tents rejoicing and glad of heart for all the goodness that Yehovah had done for his servant David and for Israel, his people. Second Chronicles, chapter 5. And all the work that Shlomo had done for the house of Yehovah was completed. And Shlomo brought in the set-apart items of his father David, the silver and the gold, and all the utensils, and he put them in the treasuries of the house of Elohim. And Shlomo assembled the elders of Israel and all the heads of the tribes, the chief fathers of the children of Israel, in Jerusalem, to bring up the Ark of the covenant of Yehovah from the city of David, which is Zion. And all the men of Israel assembled to the sovereign at the festival, which was in the 7th new moon. And all the elders of Israel came, and the Levites took up the ark, and they brought up the ark, the tent of appointment, and all of the set-apart utensils that were in the tent. The Levite priests brought them up. And sovereign Shlomo and all the congregation of Israel who were assembled to him before the ark were slaughtering so many sheep and cattle that could not be counted or numbered. And the priests brought in the Ark of the covenant of Yehovah to its place, into the speaking place of the house, to the most set-apart place, under the wings of the cherubim. For the cherubim spread their wings over the place of the ark, and the cherubim covered over the ark and its poles. And the poles were so long that the ends of the poles of the ark were seen from the set-apart place in front of the speaking place, but they were not seen from the outside, and they're there to this day. There was not in the ark but the 2 tablets which Moshe put there at Horeb when Yehovah made a covenant with the children of Israel when they came out of Mitzrayim. And it came to be, when the priests came out of the most set-apart place, for all the priests who were present had set themselves apart, there was none to watch by division. And the Levite singers, and all those of Asaph, and Heman, and Jeduthun, with their sons and their brothers, stood at the east end of the slaughter place, dressed in white linen, having cymbals and harps and lyres, and with them 120 priests sounding with trumpets. Then it came to be, as the trumpeters and singers were one, to make one sound to be heard in praising and thanking Yehovah. And when they lifted up their voice with the trumpets and with the cymbals and with the instruments of song, and giving praise to Yehovah, for he is good, for his loving commitment is everlasting, that the house of Yehovah, was filled with a cloud, and the priests were unable to stand and perform the service because of the cloud, for the esteem of Yehovah filled the house of Elohim.